this is Nathan. We're just getting ready for a time of humor, excitement, and analysis. So why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
So this is where the teaser goes when we're doing these things.
Wow, we riff?
I'm not entirely sure, but we eventually run out of time, and it happens surprisingly quick. I'm always like, I thought these were going to be longer. Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
We're talking about episode 294, Unto Us a Child is Born, an episode about producing a radio show live on air and through a series of unfortunate events.
Or fortunate events.
Who's to say? You know, necessity is the mother of invention?
Yeah,
there we go.
yeah.
I got that out.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this one live-ish. I mean, you're not hearing it in real time, but it's not being edited
before it comes out.
This episode will be uploaded immediately upon us finishing recording, and then still scheduled to come out at 4 a.m. because, you know, I do have some standards.
That he does.
Yeah, pulling back the curtain a little bit here, we are, 4 episodes ahead. We were gearing up to record It's a Pokenberry Christmas and realized that the audio for this had been deleted by me. So now we're recording again.
So all those times you gave me crap about deleting the Scrubs episodes.
No, the Scrubs episodes, but there's an episode, one of our early pandemic episodes when we were still figuring out virtual recording. Mm-hmm. You deleted your half of the audio, so we had to use the Zoom backup.
Yep.
So I deleted both halves of the audio.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Stupendous.
Empty those recycling bins, folks. That's what you should do. And never check to see if you made a copy.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, we learn. We live and we learn, and we're here to talk about Odyssey.
I am not going to be labeling these episodes as vaguely in the future.
Nope.
I'm going to actually save them with the episode name rather than just the number. Because what happened is we got really far ahead, and then I didn't know what the numbers meant anymore, so I didn't know they were important.
So you're saying you want a name, not a number?
I do want a name, not a number. Also off this album. So this episode's off the album The Changing Times, which is the first album with Jack and Jason. This is we've got a new era of Odyssey approaching. And so this, it's 294 of the show. It is, I'm looking this up now. Now you guys get to see what happens live on air.
What we get edited out.
Oh, it's the 12th episode on this album. So it's the last episode of the album. An album that has included a bunch of episodes that we've covered throughout the history of the show, but also a call for Reverend Jimmy, which we covered last week as you're listening. This episode aired December 24th of 1994. It is written and directed by Paul McCusker.
Awesome. Tremendous. No, yeah, this is a very interesting episode because this is a re-record. It was cool that it worked out that we could do it and put it out in this manner because it was an episode that we were already familiar with from recording it previously. And then also, we have Tom for Mayor and Name Not a Number and A Call for Reverend Jimmy.
George Under Pressure.
Yeah, this is such a tremendous... I love this episode. I love this album.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to jump into it with you.
Yeah, I don't think we could pull off a live recording if we hadn't already recorded this one.
No, not well, at least.
Yeah. And who's to say if this is going to turn out well? But it is certainly turning out.
Amen. I feel that.
So, other notes. We don't have any real big people to talk about cast-wise. This is, weirdly enough, the first and only time we have talked about Pamela Hayden up till this point.
Okay.
Who's the original voice of Katrina.
Yes.
We've only covered Katrina episodes post her. So now we get to go back and do that.
Yeah, they did such a good job recasting her.
They really did. And like it had like it had a good amount of like space there where they could kind of get away with it, and they I forget who they got to replace her, but she does a very good job. Pamela Hayden is by far and away most noted for being Milhouse on The Simpsons.
Oh, great. That's so cool.
A show that I have not seen.
Yeah, me neither, but I do, like, genuinely want to watch The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Not all of it.
Right.
But...
It feels like I should watch some of The Simpsons. It feels like The Simpsons is, for most people, what Odyssey is for us.
Oh. Yeah. Maybe that sounds like a tremendous analogy you have just come up with.
Before recording here, I told Andrew to get things set up while I made a trip to the restroom and would be back post haste. And then I had a existential crisis, realizing that the only reason I ever say post haste is because of Eugene.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a phrase that I genuinely use regularly.
I would say
like,
I say post haste like once a week.
It's just part of my vocabulary.
And you don't think about it.
No, I don't think. It's one of those where I was like, I only in thinking about it in this context realized like, oh, I totally lifted that from Eugene.
Yeah.
Because post-haste is not a thing people really say. I didn't even think about what post-haste meant being after haste.
Yes.
Until, like, 20 minutes ago.
Well, you know, some things come to me while I am urinating as well. And it's powerful. It's a powerful time when the stream is flowing. There's a stream of consciousness and a stream of urine. Anyway,
I have to leave that in, folks.
Yeah.
This is what I am used to dealing with.
Sorry.
Yeah, I am. It's fine. Now the audience understands.
Now you know.
You know.
Yeah. I felt bad for Lee when I recorded with him because I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to realize how much Dylan has to edit out.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. So
hey.
There it is.
And there that is. So I'm going to roll the promo.
Let's go for it.
Jimmy Barkley is about to make this Christmas one that Odyssey will never forget. Next time on Adventures in Odyssey, Jimmy has organized a radio production about the birth of Jesus. But when things go from wrong to wacky, will Jimmy find peace on earth or more chaos than anyone bargained for? Don't miss the fun on the next Adventure in Odyssey.
When things go from wrong to wacky.
Amen. Yeah.
Hey,
I think that's
is that the name of this episode?
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be my brand.
Unto us a child is born, weird to wacky edition.
Instead of live, it's just weird to wacky.
Weird to wacky. Jeez, it is. I mean It's a fun promo.
It's actually fun, and I like it. And his voice is so cheesy, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there is a lot of cheese on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the episode begins with Jimmy's demo reel.
Yeah. He's selling his production to Jack and Jason.
Right. Yeah, he's trying to make like a sweet deal with Spotify.
Yeah.
You know,
he's trying to get the Joe Rogan paycheck.
Right, exactly. But in this instance, it is it's a demo reel. Did he make it for a school project?
It sounded like it. Yeah.
I think that's it, which is funny because it's like if you're going to do like, hey, I made this for a school project, maybe, and this is just a suggestion, have people who voice kids in the show voice the characters in it.
Yeah, that was very confusing for me.
I think it is just like a budget / like who we could grab thing, because all the people who are doing the voices in that, like all the ancillary voices in this episode are Bob Smithhauser, Mark Drury, Marshall Young, are just like producers on the show who they could just like grab.
Somebody say some words, go.
Right. And so that's very much what they're doing there. But like it would have been fun for like Lawrence to be one of the voices, you know.
That would have been super fun.
I would have had fun with that. Regardless though, like, so Jimmy's performance is very like amateur and hammy. So are the other actors. However, on a whole, that demo is very impressive.
Oh my gosh.
There's like
the
doubling of his voice when he's doing the angels. That's like some Bizyble stuff right there.
Yeah, that is some shout out Bizyble. That is
long
very
live
impressive.
the Bizyble.
Is that heretical to say that? I don't know.
Probably. It is just a well produced. There's like sound effects and stuff. I'm like, where is this? Just like, is this what school projects were?
I don't
You were homeschooled, so what was the school project?
I made I made fake podcast, like audio format assignments as a way of getting out of doing actual work. I did that a couple times in English class.
I always found ways to make myself more work, which was multiple times, both in elementary school and then again in high school when I definitely should have known better. I was like, we were given like video assignments where you had to like do a skit. And I was like, you know, what's really cringy is people on camera, and I'm uncomfortably being on camera. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop animate this and then dub over voices. That'll be less work and less cringy.
That is a tremendous idea, and if you donate to our Patreon, I will force Dylan to release those into the world.
I definitely don't have the one from middle school, which is a bummer, because that was...
Did you use Lego stop animation?
Yeah, of course. So that was supposed to be... It was the boy who cried wolf, but it was the droid who cried Sith.
Wait, that doesn't make sense, though.
Yeah. Well, so it was... In my mind, it was going to be like C-3PO, like freaking out about, you know, Vader or something.
Yes. Yeah.
But I didn't have a C-3PO. I had a battle droid. So it is a battle droid and then Darth Vader, because that was the Sith I had. Battle droids and Darth Vader don't really ever interact.
No. Well, I mean, unless you count Anakin in episode 2.
I'm aware if we like get semantic about it, but you know.
This isn't the Star Wars Semantics podcast.
No. Listen to the Star Wars New Canon Book Club. It's great.
Actually, yes. That is a hard promo for me. I love that one.
But yeah, the thing... Anyways, the thing with those was I ended up making way more work for myself. I also did a good long scene from... not Merchant of Venice. A Shakespeare.
Wow.
Oh, it was from Romeo and Juliet. Never mind.
Oh.
It's actually, Odyssey tie-in. It's the whole, like, it's the scene that Nick later will do to win a prize from the Electric Palace, because they're pairing up with Edwin Blackard. He wants Zapazoids.
Yep.
And he and a friend do a bunch of different versions of Shakespeare. It's a good episode. I like that episode, Odyssey. Maybe we'll do a Dylan's Choice sometime and do that. And I was very much inspired by that as a high schooler to do a stop animation of that scene that was not good.
What? Who's expecting great? I will say that my radio dramas that I did for school were terrible. Like, they were recorded in my basement with, like, in one take, no editing. Almost like this podcast.
I was going to say, that's literally the premise of the Andrew Sabo podcast.
Yeah, well, there's some editing.
Now, when it started, though,
no,
that was it, right? It was recorded in your basement.
Yes. On
one mic.
Yes.
And in one take.
Yes.
Uploaded immediately.
And I ate cereal while I did it sometimes.
Sometimes Balin showed up. It was a good time. Man, what if this is our longest episode?
It might be.
It cannot be.
No.
Our longest episode is Exit. which deserves to be the longest.
Yeah.
Even the 100. No, actually, is the 100th episode the longest now?
I think it might be.
Probably is. So Anchor changed their back end, so I can't just sort by episode length or by plays. So I'm very sad. Anchor, fix your stats.
Yeah.
Come on, you listen to me. I know it.
Well, at least the algorithm does.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm speaking directly to you, robot.
So yeah, the whole setup for this is that then Jimmy is pitching this school project demo as like, hey, I want to do a live radio drama Christmas Eve, because he's doing a scene of the angel coming to the shepherds, and he's like, I was doing that, and I was like, it would be really cool to do everything and to film that or record that live on air. And
do it for kids radio.
Right. And Jack and Jason are hesitant. Jason
as
also,
they should be. He's a child, and they want to do this so the whole town can hear it. Apparently the whole town listens to kids radio. I'm willing to suspend disbelief, but
no, I mean
they want to do it at 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve.
Right. A point that is, yeah, I mean, we can get into later why it's at 10 p.m., but it is kind of goofy, but whatever. Also, in this moment, I do want to very kindly point out, I know this is the initial episode, or the initial album with Townsend Coleman playing Jason. I understand there are growing pains. He does not sound like Jason, and it is so confusing.
Sounds like a guy.
This is like my third time listening to this episode in prep for an episode.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, is it every time I'm just like, wait, Jack and who?
Jack and man.
It's Jason.
I see.
Oh, okay. And like that's not just on Townsend Coleman. We can also throw a little bit on McCusker as the director.
Yeah.
But it's just a little rough. But
it is a little rough. Worth noting, I would say.
Yeah. I just wanted to note it.
So, does this scene end with them saying yes to it? Is that it? Like he kind of convinces them here?
Yeah.
Okay.
After he has a great line. So one of the things that's great about this episode is the like McCusker and presumably other writers having some input, just having so much fun riffing on the idea of like, this is their job, is to put on radio dramas so they can make like some inside baseball jokes and just funny jokes for them. Like, it's
they
the
make
kind of thing,
jokes about producing something.
Right. It's like the episodes of Seinfeld where, Jerry's trying to pitch a pilot. Like it's that like meta humor where they're like, oh yes, we know what we're talking about because this is literally our job.
Yeah.
And so like the joke in this scene is Jimmy saying like, come on, we like Christmas. They're like, Christmas Eve's is just over a week away, and Jimmy's like, well, yeah, it's radio. It's not like anybody has to memorize their lines.
Yeah, which is an excellent point, and to which I was like, yes, give this man a microphone.
Yeah. And so they're like, all right, Jimmy, like if you're gonna do this, like, let's do it. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the next scene, which is in the Barkley house, and then it's Jimmy recruiting his family to help him with his project. And everybody is, again, initially hesitant, everybody for various reasons. Donna's upset because she doesn't want to be the grouchy innkeeper's daughter that's turning them away.
Jimmy specifically casts, so he's like, obviously, Mom and Dad, you get to play Mary and Joseph.
Yes.
Donna, you get to play the bratty, self-centered innkeeper's daughter. And then he's like, it's the part you were born for.
Which is so mean.
Yeah, and then it's just like fun sibling ribbing. It's like this thing we come back to a lot in these episodes, just talking about like how realistic they play siblings and how fun that is.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And
I think that me and my siblings, like, In the same way that I catch my sisters talking like they do in Gilmore Girls, I catch me and my sister talking like Donna and Jimmy.
Fair. Yeah. So there's this whole thing about like, when are we going to do the show? And it's like, so George's service is at 8, so they're going to do the show at 10. Mm-hmm. So it's going to go from 10 to... It goes till midnight.
Yeah.
They put on a 2-hour radio production of the Christmas Story. Like, I want to understand that.
Yeah, there's not that much in the Bible it's just the one story, and it's like 1 or 2 chapters.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah, I mean, right, and they're, like, we don't hear any scenes. I mean, they start with, like, the angel coming to Mary, so, like, they can go back far enough and do some of the run-up, and, like, you can imagine they maybe throw in some wise man stuff, but, like, it's impressive that they pull it for 2 hours, especially when Eugene later is baffled by Jimmy wanting to run a commercial, implying that they have not had commercials during this.
And they're doing it all live.
For 2 hours.
Almost like us. Hopefully this doesn't go 2 hours.
My word. That's... Man, Andrew, you're right. We should have started this later than what we did. As it sits, we started this at 8. We should have started it 2 hours later so as not to conflict with George Barclay's Christmas Eve sermon.
Yeah, that's the only way we could have done this.
Truly.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for the episode. The reason why it's at 10 is so that Stuart can be born on Christmas.
Yes.
Even though he is born a little before Christmas.
Yes.
But
whoopsies! 11/24 New Year's Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah. The other
a whole week earlier.
My bad.
So then, yeah, going back to the casting, there is also a delightful moment of Mary being like, I don't, like, George's excuse is like, I've got the Christmas Eve service. Jimmy's like, it'll be at 10. Donna's like, I don't want to play someone bratty, self-centered. And Jimmy's like, all right, I mean, you'd be really good at it, but fine, I'll rewrite the part. And then Mary's like, I am ready to burst any minute. She is very pregnant.
Incredibly.
And Jimmy's retort is, well, the original Mary didn't let a little thing like being pregnant get away in her starring in the first Christmas Story, which is a killer of a line.
Yeah, and also, bold move, pushing your pregnant mother to do more.
Yeah.
And you didn't get your head eaten off. Like,
yeah.
Great
You
job.
Succeeded.
Good restraint, Mary.
Yeah.
So
and then right, the next scene is between it's
Katrina and Connie, right?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because
okay. So there's one more joke then in this scene that I thought came later, but actually happens here according to my notes, which is another meta joke of Jimmy just because it's after he and Donna go back and forth, and he agrees to rewrite it as like she is a like caring, charming innkeeper's daughter, and Donna says through gritted teeth, like me, which is amazing. And then Jimmy mumbles under his breath, boy, the haggling you have to do with these temperamental actors.
We love it. We
really do.
Oh man, yeah, no, this episode is delightful, and I'll probably say it a bunch more times before this episode's over, but I really did enjoy it. So then the next scene is Katrina and Connie. Connie's working at Wits End. Katrina is coming in to work as the technical director alongside Eugene for the production of Jimmy's kids radio thing, Christmas Story. And you get this really kind of fun dynamic between Katrina and Connie.
Eugene and I are friends, and that's all there is to say about it.
Yeah, exactly. And Connie's like, oh, so you don't want me to talk to you about it? And Katrina's like, no.
That's true. The run up to that line is Connie being like, so you two have been like, we haven't gotten to talk about it at Bible study, but like, how are things going with you two? And Katrina's like, I have appreciated your restraint up till this point, Connie.
Yeah. And Connie's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I take it you would appreciate if my restraint continued.
Yep.
And Katrina's like, yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
We are friends, and that's all there is to say about it.
Yeah.
For now. Hint,
For
hint,
now.
hint,
Dot,
hint.
dot, dot. Eyebrows.
Yes. And then...
And that's when we cut into the recording studio, correct?
Well, so
Connie's the innkeeper's wife.
Right, Connie's the innkeeper's wife, but there's also this bit about Katrina being really excited for this being her first Christmas as a Christian and
That's
wanting it
super
to be
important.
special.
Yeah. We didn't cover that episode of Katrina becoming a Christian.
Yeah, maybe in the future. Hint,
who
hint.
knows?
Eyebrows.
I can hope. Resident Katrina and Eugene stan here. I don't think that's something that you get to stan if they actually like work out.
No, I think it's fine.
Okay,
I don't
all
know.
right.
You can ship a couple that ends up getting married.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on the ship. Might not mean a whole lot, but I'm on it.
Whereas I, Chalk Squad, only ship Trent and Mandy.
Yes. Trandy.
As it is legitimately known on the wiki, that really bugs me. I'm sorry, wiki people who probably did that and listen.
It's okay. You know, there's grace covers a multitude of sins.
There's 3 episodes of like Trent and Mandy, and the wiki refers to them as the Trandy Saga.
Do they really?
They do.
Which
Reminds me of the Transall Saga, which is a sci-fi book written by Gary Paulson that I really liked.
The more you know. If any of the
it was written in 98, and it ends it ends with the discovery that the world ends from Ebola. And I was reading this in like 2012 going like, what now?
Excuse me? Ebola?
Yeah. Man,
And
remember
now
Ebola pre-COVID?
Oh yeah, well we had Ebola and then we had Zika, and Zika wasn't
I
as
forgot
bad as
Zika.
Ebola, but none of them ever made it here.
Right.
We kept those in the poor countries.
Yeah. Then COVID went worldwide.
Yeah. Somebody was playing Plague, and they got the strategy of making it stupid contagious.
Yeah. It was just a matter of time. So the scene next is Jason once again, weird line reading voice thing, but you can kind of play it up as it's Jason the character doing it, not Townsend Coleman the actor, because it's Jason playing the angel doing like this weird line reading, and then Mary's, responding to the angel and has this line where she's like, but I need to turn over my page to read the next line.
Yeah. And then Jimmy cuts it. He's like, oh, man, Mom.
Yep.
Oh, you've got to lay them all out next time, which is like a really funny note thing.
Yeah.
Another kind of inside baseball
Uh-huh.
joke.
Well, and then like probably the most inside baseball thing from this episode, which is Eugene then asking Jason to step up into his mic.
Yes.
Because it'll sound better.
Yeah.
And he does, and it does.
Yeah, and he goes like, oh, it sounds better presently or something like that.
Yeah. And it's fun.
No,
and then
it's so
it
much
is
fun.
the thing that will happen again later, but it just devolves into everyone has taken a break.
Yep.
Mary's like, hey, can I sit down? And
Yeah.
George is like, oh, well, if we're doing that, I'm going to call it the church. And Donna's
Yep.
like, oh, I've still got Christmas shopping to do. And, Connie goes to check on Jason or whatever. Everyone Jason goes to check on Jack. Connie
Yes.
checking on Jason's later. Regardless, they just all kind of spread out.
Except for Eugene and Katrina.
Except for, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Who have a nice little scene where Jimmy's like, hey, you two probably have to go somewhere too, and Katrina's like, no,
Nope.
I've got nothing. Eugene's like, yeah, me either.
Just this
We're
cute guy standing
committed.
next to me.
Hint, hint. Eyebrows. Look, we've got they have nowhere to be because they are good, responsible adults
Yeah.
who like actually commit to a thing.
They budgeted their time well.
And also, if you have romantic interest in a person, you can definitely
Shrug some other responsibilities. It's
neither of us
go-to
have
move.
ever done that.
No, that's never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
The Christmas episode didn't come out late this year. I don't know what you mean.
Ooh, who could have thought?
And so the thing, so Katrina's like, oh, I've already purchased all my gifts except for yours. And Eugene's like, wait, mine?
Yeah.
Oh no, and starts panicking. He's like, his initial reaction is like surprise, and then like being touched, and then like terrified that he didn't get anything. But it's an incredible Will Ryan performance.
Oh my gosh, you can hear all of the emotions that he is experiencing just in his vocal inflection.
And he also like he goes into panic mode without it being like too heightened where like it feels fake. Like obviously it's enough that we as the audience pick up on it, but it doesn't feel like
it's suppressed, and the audience can kind of hear the suppression, which is very cool.
Yeah, it's a really good voice performance.
Yeah.
And Katrina, to her credit, is like super reassuring, where she's like, you don't have to, like, just because I'm getting you something does not mean you have to go get, me something.
It kind of does, though. I mean, I know it doesn't have to, but
like I appreciate that she has because
she's got the emotional intelligence to recognize that would be how he would feel in response.
Exactly. And it's last minute, and it's not like a thing where she doesn't want, she's actively, it's not just that she doesn't want to put pressure on him, it's that she genuinely takes steps to mitigate the pressure. You can think in your head, oh yeah, I'm doing this for the person, but that doesn't mean they need to do anything for me. But to verbalize that just shows so much maturity in that you're aware of how this is going to read to them.
Yeah. Well, and Katrina reads Eugene like a book. And it's something that, like, I don't really think that I picked up on as much as a kid. But now, like, looking back at it, I'm like, Katrina's got the pants in that relationship. She knows Eugene. She knows him so well. And we see that later in this episode.
Yeah, we do.
Their dynamic is amazing.
Yep.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. And so Eugene then exits this scene very rushedly.
Yeah, like runs to Connie, essentially.
Right. And Connie is, like, immediately chastises Eugene for not already having a gift.
Yeah.
Being like, wait, you weren't going to get her something? In just the... What is the classic Odyssey line? It's the I am a girl, which means I know everything there is to know about boys and girls.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very much that energy. And so
poor Eugene.
Right. And so Connie's like, okay, I've got something you can get. And as someone who has done this podcast for a while, I am immediately bracing for impact. I am like, what horrible thing are the writers going to have Connie buy for?
Yeah.
Like, have Connie tell Eugene to get that just blows up and makes her look bad and him look worse. And, spoiler,
that doesn't happen.
Connie's great in this episode.
She does a great job.
It's amazing.
A bang-up job by Katie Lee and Connie Kendall. Just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, I also want to point out at this point, too, the weirdness of... So this is a 27-minute episode, which is so long.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It very clearly has 2 A-plots.
Yes.
Like, we talked a few episodes ago about the Donna Gets a Dog episode, in which it has no B-plot. Like, it is just one A-plot, and it's really weird. This one has the opposite problem, where, like, this is 2 key A-plots.
Yeah, they're both so important. And as the listener, like, the first time I prepped for it, I picked up on as the Jimmy plot being the A plot, and this, kind of being a side plot or a B plot or something. But now that I've listened to it many times, they they put so much emphasis on the Eugene and Katrina side of things. Like, they get like 4 scenes together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's pretty evenly split.
Yeah.
I think it starts heavier on Jimmy.
Yeah, because it's just setting
And then
setting the stage.
Exactly. And then it pivots harder to Eugene Katrina. And as such, this is the only Christmas episode that gets aired in order. So, like, when Odyssey is not airing, like, Odyssey airs an episode every day, every weekday, and it's mostly just reruns. You know, occasionally you get the new episode.
But that's only on Saturdays, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it used to be Wednesdays. Now it's Saturdays.
Okay.
Like, I think growing up, new episodes came out Wednesdays. But
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that. Tweet at us.
Yeah. If you still listen to Odyssey on the radio, definitely tweet at us, because I
don't even listen to the radio on the radio.
I listen to sports radio occasionally, and that's only because I don't feel like making a decision on what to listen to.
That does sound like an Andrew move.
Yeah.
So the thing here is, like, they always just bench the Christmas episodes until it's Christmas time, and then marathon them all right then. But this is the one Christmas episode that is so key and so connected that they have to air it at this point. Like, we'll later be talking about Pokenberry Christmas, which is
the Christmas part of the story is kind of the C plot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is incidentally a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
When we talk about, like, Pokenberry Christmas, it makes sense that you can air that one at Christmas because it's the end of the arc, and so it doesn't, and they're pretty self-contained.
Yeah.
This one is the crisscrossing and pivotal moments in 2 big arcs.
Yes.
Which is the Barkley saga that we've been covering, and also Eugene and Katrina.
Which we have not covered.
No, and if we do, when we do, who knows? Do we cover this episode for a third time? A second time broadcast? Who knows? Listen along to find out.
We cover ourselves covering it.
Maybe we bring Michaela back for that one or something.
But that's the episode where we have Michaela and Libby host, and we just aren't here.
Yeah, we just get people who are better at this than us to come on the show.
Man, that would be so interesting.
Or we... Nope, actually, that's a bad idea that I'm not even saying on air, because we're
doing it live.
It opens a door that I don't want to open, even though I kind of want to joke about it. But yeah, so it is just it is an interesting necessity of this episode that, like, it airs in order because, like, Stuart Reed is born and Eugene and Katrina, like, continue their arc, and it's not quite like a crux, but it's definitely important.
Well, yeah, I would say that it's super central. Like, the Christmas side definitely it's important, but, like, you know, like I said, it's tangential.
Yeah. I mean, it's the setting. It necessitates the plot.
Yeah.
But it is also, like,
it quickly fades.
Right. It is the constant, like, thrust behind everything, but nobody's focusing on it.
No, nobody is. And, well, I suppose except for Eugene and Katrina.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right. And the fact that this is a Christmas story. Like it does revolve around Christmas, but there's bigger things going on than just the fact that it's Christmas.
Yeah. And what you were saying earlier about this being a gargantuan episode, it definitely does kind of show some of its colors in the way that it's been cut up. And, you know, you can kind of tell that there was probably either a 2-part episode that got cut into one, or it was, you know, there was definitely some scenes or parts of scenes that were left on the threshing room floor with how it's cut up now and how we see it.
And it does, yeah, it feels like they had it feels like the Eugene and Katrina stuff came second, but that then, like, everyone got really excited about that stuff, and so they gave it a front seat. But, like, they already had the concept, and then they were like, oh, like, they're like, we want Stuart to be born on Christmas, and it would be fun for Jimmy to put on a show.
But it would also be fun for Eugene to say, I love you on Christmas.
Right. Christmas Eve.
20
minutes still. And so
Wait, but isn't it post bells?
Did he say no? Bells are post the broadcast. Oh, you're saying when he says "I love you"
Yeah, when
outside.
she's driving away,
I was
yeah.
thinking about when he says it on air.
Oh.
It happens twice,
Yeah.
but once is in character.
Not really.
No.
So the next so this is what I was saying about the kind of the rough transition. It jumps into the live performance on Christmas.
No. See, this is exactly
Okay,
it.
it doesn't.
It jumps into another rehearsal scene,
Uh-huh.
but you definitely think, oh, this is the thing,
Yes.
and then it's not. But it's the innkeeper scene,
Okay.
and it's Mary moaning very convincingly,
Incredibly convincingly.
and then we get to hear Donna's little part.
I wonder if they got the Foley work to just like actually have a pregnant woman in the studio.
Yeah, maybe. There are also incredibly, like, they have bird sounds in the background that have been cranked up to like 11. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
they're
picked up
so
on this.
loud.
They're so loud. It's really funny.
Well, back in the olden days, there were just more birds.
Yeah. And so Jack is playing the innkeeper. So Connie's his wife, Donna's their kid.
Yep.
And he's playing him very Irish.
Yeah, because that's just what Jack does.
It really is.
There's Jack, and then there's Irish
like,
Jack. That's it.
Alan Young, like I believe Donovan is all. I think Donovan's Scottish, but it's still
Same
like
thing.
Like
I say that as an Irish person.
So there, yeah, and then there's a great, like, they jump out and Katrina cues the wrong effect, because they're like, oh, well, let's go out to these crowded streets, and then it's like New York City streets,
Yeah.
and everyone is like, oh no, and so they like.
wrong sound effect.
Yeah, and Katrina's like, oh, sorry about that. And then they're like, okay, well, let's, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to da-da-da. And they all just run away. The weird thing is, so it's the 23rd. So they're rehearsing the day before. Mm-hmm. Donna goes out to buy Normal a new collar.
I had some questions there. Is this a dog stalking situation, or did Normal, like, break his collar? Like, it was just kind of, like, oddly specific to be thrown in there.
Yeah.
For being completely unrelated to everything else.
Right. Right. And this time, Eugene and Katrina do go away. Mm-hmm. And they bump into each other then at the store. Mm-hmm. Katrina checks out at the store from a store clerk who is played by Will Ryan. And then bumps into Will Ryan outside.
Didn't I see you?
But this time it's Eugene, and they are so cute.
They're so cute.
It's so charming. Eugene's like, "Oh, hey, you want to go for a stroll?"
Yeah.
And then like they just go for like an impromptu walk. Like, I love the
let's just walk around the block and enjoy Christmas.
Right, the kind of intimacy of that, just like, oh, we just like casually ran into people, and rather than like fumbling around for a while and being awkward and going our separate ways, we were just like, yeah, okay, let's do something together. Like, hey.
Well, and like going for a walk is such a cute thing, and doing it around Christmas time, I don't know. Yeah. Like, being from small town, USA, I suppose, I have a lot of affinity for small town Christmas.
Yeah.
And so, like, just the idea, like, I've gone on romantic walks during Christmas time, and it's so cute. And Katrina and Eugene are so good together, and the way that they talk to each other is just, it's fun to listen to, because Katrina gets a side out of Eugene that really nobody else does. And Eugene kind of brings out a humor or a assertiveness that Katrina doesn't offer otherwise. So it's just delightful.
Yeah, and so through their exchange, we find out that Jack, Jason, and Eugene are having a bachelor's Christmas together, which is great. And then there's this adorable... So Katrina's talking about, like, what Christmas means to her, and asks Eugene, like, kind of what it means to him, and he gives, like, he makes, like, a sound.
Yes, he goes,
When she's when she's talking about what it means to her. And Katrina says, I've never heard a so fraught with meaning and so totally lacking in commitment.
Yes.
And Eugene, without missing a beat, is just kind of like, yeah, that's my style.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep. And then Katrina asks Eugene what it means for him, and once again showing that like one step ahead of it, and is like, and please do not give me a verbose non-answer.
Yeah.
Which is a killer line, because it just shows that like how well she knows him, that she is like, I know your gut is to like make something up that sounds like something and doesn't really mean anything, and I am cutting you off. Like, actually open up here.
Yeah, well, and it's like one of these very interesting, like, it's a super interesting dynamic, because she is his intellectual equal, if not superior, and she's the opposite gender, which kind of brings out this very interesting side of Eugene and this flirting thing, and she even gives him while he's giving his explanation, and it's so cute.
And then he says, was that a and she was like, yes, conveyed in the typical Meltzner fashion.
Oh my gosh.
And our hearts melt.
Yep.
And then he suggests they go back to Wits End, where young James Barkley is probably like frantically awaiting them.
Yeah, it's such a good scene. My note says their flirting is so cute.
Right.
Exclamation point. So
and that's
about how I feel about it.
Yeah. And then we get one of these, like we were talking about earlier, kind of the clunkiness of transitions, which is, this is now the actual performance. So we went from a rehearsal, they leave the rehearsal, Eugene says, all right, let's go back. And then they go back to, and the next scene is the real thing. And it starts with like Joseph and Mary being confronted by this soldier who is speaking in an indecipherable accent. It is weird.
I can't even recall it, to be honest with you.
And we don't have anybody credited as the soldier on the wiki, so I don't know who to blame for that. But it's a choice.
It was a choice. It was made.
And then we get to see like Jimmy directing this whole thing, and just the fun that is that. Yeah,
him like doing the all the different things that go into producing a live radio show, which was really fun. And Donna is then freaking out because Mary needs water. She bursts out of the studio and like runs to, I think it's Connie, or runs past Connie. He's like, what's going on? She's like, I need to get water for my mom because something is not right. Like she is in pain.
And I like the so earlier we had a Jimmy joking about Donna being self-centered.
Yeah.
And in this scene, Connie goes out of her way to be like, oh, I didn't hear your mom say anything. And Donna says, no, I could just tell.
Yeah, I just know.
It is like of course she is like tuned into that and aware, and a nice like flip off of to really like prove Jimmy's point wrong of just being like, oh no, like in this moment.
No, she knows. Yeah.
Like she is going to be like selfless and intuitive and not be a brat.
Yeah, we love it. We love to see good Donna.
Yeah, well, and like then that's obviously what we expect. Like we knew Jimmy's thing was a ribbing, but I think it's fun that the show like
actively proves it wrong.
Right. They take that extra step that they didn't need to underline that.
And we get Mary's kind of birthing sounds in the background, like she's
right, so she's
her moaning
doing
is
the
getting
scene
louder and louder, and she's doing the scene
that we had just previously heard. So it's like the classic thing in like screenwriting, storytelling, whatever, you don't show the same thing twice. So if you're going to show a rehearsal, you are then either not going to show that scene like they did with the angel, or you are going to show it and then change something. And so what changes this is we got to see how that scene should go earlier. Now we get to see it fall apart.
Yes.
And it is Mary doing incredibly, like, on the nose sounds of labor because she is going into labor.
Yeah, it's like getting louder and louder, and
Yep.
and yeah, my note says, "Oh boy, she sounds convincing," and then my next note is, "She's going to give birth."
Right. Yep. And it is, yeah, it's just like, she then, like, they're doing, like, a good job keeping in character, and then at a certain point she just says, George, and everyone goes, George!
Yeah, it's so, oh my gosh. It's like, that's the moment where she breaks character, and she's like, I need to leave now.
Right.
I need to go to the hospital. And George is freaking out. He is so flustered.
Yep. And then we love this episode. Do not get us wrong, folks. But there are a couple weird things. There are some pacing issues.
Yeah.
There's the Townsend Coleman thing off the top. And this one is really weird, in my opinion, which is the sound engineering of them going from the thing to the hospital sounds like a door opened up in the sound booth.
Yes.
And a car pulled up through that door.
Yeah.
And Mary hopped in.
Yeah.
And George floored it and they left.
Like an ambulance pulled up and they went out the back door of the recording studio.
Yeah.
But
it's clunky.
That's some very interesting Foley work that was done there.
Yeah. And it's like, I understand that you wanted, they want the sounds of them leaving overlapping with the show still going on, because they can't cut between those, and I get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite work.
Yeah, it could be a little bit quieter. I don't know. But it is what it is, and I respect them for trying.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely... Well, we get Jimmy scrambling, which is a kind of fit.
He comes in to the studio. Eugene's like, you better go, and he's like, I know, I've got to direct, and Eugene's like, yeah, so get in there, thinking Eugene was saying to go to the hospital, when in fact he was just saying, get in there, figure this thing out, we're live. And it is we have Connie incredibly covering for Donna's lines, so she does the Donna line about we could just have them stay in the stable, and then ends it with Papa. I mean husband.
Yes. I mean husband.
Yes. Very Freudian.
The id.
And so and then Eugene or Jimmy's like, okay, Eugene, just send us to commercial, and Eugene's like, what commercial?
Yeah, what commercial?
And Jimmy's like, just do it.
Yeah.
And so he rolls the commercial. Did you happen to catch what the commercial is?
I didn't, but I'm really excited because I always try to notice these things, and I love Odyssey.
So I decided to pay attention, because I was like, oh, what are we gonna get? It's Jimmy's demo tape from the beginning of the episode.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh no. What is that doing to the production?
I imagine it's just like hey, there's the tape, just throw it in.
Yeah.
But that actually might have worked in that they are they are going to the stable to give birth, and then we cut to the shepherds out in the fields, and it's you can almost pass that off. So
I'll pass it. I'll give him
Eugene's just accidental scramble. They kind of pulled it off,
only to be met by thundering moos later.
Yeah. And then we go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Where I guess is the receptionist. Who are they talking to? I do not understand.
Probably somebody.
I don't know how hospitals work.
When you go in, especially if you're giving birth, the first person you meet is the triage nurse. and they're gonna be the one that gets your vitals and stuff, and then gets you admitted, and talks.
Okay.
Like if you're giving birth, they'll get you with the people that help you give birth and stuff.
Okay. So he's like asking for an orderly.
Yeah.
And also asking who their doctor is.
Yes.
And George is an idiot and has
bungles
no
it.
idea.
Yeah.
And Mary, while giving birth, is like, it's Dr. Morton.
Yes. Which, George, you've done this twice before. There is no excuse for you being this flustered. I get it. It's Christmas Eve. You're tired. You gave your sermon.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. If your wife's giving birth, you just gotta get it together, my guy.
Also, I mean, great that it's Dr. Morton, the canonical only doctor in Odyssey other than Regis Blackard. Like,
Yeah.
because she's also the person who treats Wit after the mortal coil incident.
Oh. Interesting.
Which I only know because of the wiki. I'm not that good.
Well, I mean, not yet. We haven't covered the mortal coil.
Oh boy.
We never will.
I mean,
Wait.
who's to say? We're live on air. I can't confirm nor deny. So yeah. Then we cut back to Jimmy trying to keep the show going, and is like, okay, we need a Joseph and a Mary. And Connie and Jack are like, well, we'll do it. And he's like, no, we just heard you.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, is funny for two reasons. One, just like,
Change your voice a little bit?
Well,
oh,
like-
wait, no, you
like-
can't.
like, you can get away with it. But two, they literally did this with Will Ryan earlier in the episode,
Yeah.
where he appeared in back-to-back scenes playing different characters. And I wonder how meta that it was intended to be, if they were nodding to that on purpose. Like, I don't know.
If you know, tweet at us.
Yeah. Paul McCusker, come talk to us about how you constructed this episode.
I would take just a nice email with a little, some trivia about the production of this specific episode, because it fascinates me.
Yeah. You remember the stuff that you did 25 years ago, right,
Of course.
McCusker?
To the T, right? To the T.
So, yeah. So he ends up, Jimmy just very quickly casts Eugene and Katrina. Because,
Yep.
of course.
Oh, it's so good.
And they go in there, and what Jason is Jason playing a shepherd? What is Jason's part? I totally forget. But Jason or no. Yeah. Jason is talking to Eugene and Katrina.
Yes.
Because there is this over the top bit of him like referencing the cattle.
Yes.
And then Jimmy is supposed to play the cattle sound.
Yeah.
And doesn't. And he unnecessarily re-cues Jimmy and just like says it again louder. And it's like, buddy, nobody would have been mad if that sound effect wasn't there. Like, they would not have noticed.
No.
You also gave him no time. You just said the line and then immediately repeated it. And then Jimmy plays like, what is it? It's like a stampede.
No, well, it sounds like cows being thrown around in a tornado. I don't know what's actually happening, but it sounds like there's a thunderstorm
he
and
from
there's
the Wizard of
cows.
Oz soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, man, it's a classic.
And so then it's Eugene and Katrina doing their scene very admirably.
Mm-hmm. They do a great job, maybe because they're not acting.
Maybe hint, eyebrows.
We'll just keep saying eyebrows.
eyebrows. And then it's
Oh, then it gets interrupted.
No. First we have Eugene saying, "I love you, Katrina, Mary."
Yeah. Yep. And it plays it off as oh shoot, I slipped out of character
because I'm not an actor.
Yes, because I'm not an actor. But no. He was telling the truth. He does love you, Katrina.
We know your heart feelings there, Eugene.
It's okay. We can be honest.
And then Jimmy drops the wrong sound effect again.
When the Saints go marching in. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I mean, It almost, listening to it this time, it almost kind of felt like a little out of character, a little because the rest of the episode is so emotional and like there's so much happening.
Yeah.
The bits with like the messed up sound cues are hilarious, but it does kind of like it does kind of conflict with the tone of the episode,
Right.
I would
Well,
say.
it is that thing where, and this is actually referenced in the official guide, that this episode was inspired by a 1982 Michael Frayn play called Noises Off, which is a play about a stage play that is going bad. And they're doing that same thing here, and you get kind of the idea that even though McCusker's the only credited writer, that like he had this idea of like, oh, let's like do a farce in this style, and then other people came in and added some weight to it with the Eugene and Katrina stuff, and so we do get like a bit of a weird juxtaposition, but like it works.
Oh no, yeah. Well, and like we said, I mean, I love this episode. I don't think it takes away from it.
It's real good,
in any significant
but
way.
it is funny that like we're covering this as part of the Barkley, Pastor Barkley arc or whatever we're calling this thing, and it is clearly part of that. But the heart of this episode is not that.
No.
It is Eugene and Katrina. Like, yeah, we have the birth, and we have a little bit about George still being a pastor, but it is
it's about
some fun
Eugene.
family dynamic. But like the
meat of the episode is Eugene and Katrina, I would say.
Yeah. And so they
Is this when we go to the hospital?
we jump to the hospital where the baby has been delivered.
Yeah.
Donna comments on him. They're like, "Oh, he's so cute," and Donna's like, he looks a little too much like Jimmy."
Yeah, and we get all these bells in the background.
The bells come later.
Are you sure?
Oh, I mean, the bells are in this scene, I guess, but they're the end of this scene.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit before, which is George quoting his lines from the play to Mary, and then slightly adapting them, and then they name him Stuart Reed as the bells chime for midnight.
It's so cute.
And we transition on that bell chime to the bells chiming at wit's end.
Yep.
With the production having finished.
At midnight. Because whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of all celebrating, the classic post-production congratulations. Like, wow, Jimmy, you really pulled that off despite everything.
Yeah, and it's all of the people around Jimmy complimenting him in a way that's really sweet.
Yeah, and Jimmy's like, oh, well, can somebody take me to the hospital because I want to see my mom.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's really cute. And humanizing. And so Jimmy gets to go do that, and
in the meantime
we get Eugene and Katrina.
Yeah, he offers to walk her to her car.
Yeah.
In a classic move.
I mean, it is midnight, you don't know who's lurking about in Odyssey this time of night.
that's true. That's true. You gotta keep your eyes open for, all those hooligans, the Bones of Wrath.
Bones of Wrath.
They're known to
the punniest gang in town.
And so that was a good joke. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so Katrina's just talking about like how meaningful it was for her first Christmas as a Christian, getting to play Mary.
Yeah.
How like meaningful this felt, how real it felt.
Yeah.
And then compliments Eugene on how good his performance was. I didn't realize you were such a good actor. He says,
and
perhaps it was more than acting.
Exactly. And we didn't really draw a ton of emphasis to it before, but Katrina was talking about how excited she was for Christmas and the fact that it was her first Christmas as a Christian and everything that was going to mean to her. And so it's really cool that we get to see it kind of come full circle, and it ends in a way that works out so well for her, where she gets to play Mary. She gets to actually be involved in like such a cool special thing for her cool special first Christmas. And it just ends in this beautiful moment, and we've got the bells, and they're she says that he acted the scene very tenderly, and then we get the gift exchange.
Yeah. So they Katrina goes to hand her gift to Eugene, and he pulls one out from his coat.
Yeah.
Comments on that.
Yeah.
They hand them to each other. They unwrap them. they say each other's name in unison,
Yeah.
and then they both say it's a Bible.
Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. And we love a good Bible. We love a good Bible for Christmas. They're so expensive, especially nice ones.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the one Katrina got Eugene has his name embroidered on the front, or not embroidered, embossed, maybe debossed. And yeah, Eugene's doesn't because it was more last minute, but also just like, well done, Connie Kendall. Like,
yeah, she killed it.
The right
It's a
gift.
great idea.
And there's also, and I don't know, I mean, maybe this is fanfic, headcanon, whatever, but like my personal feeling is like, so Connie and Katrina have been doing this Bible study since she's, been a Christian and whatnot. Connie obviously had this idea locked and loaded. I like the idea that Connie was going to buy Katrina a Bible.
Oh.
And
she instead gave it to Eugene.
And instead was like, you know what, Eugene, like, you need an idea. Here's a good one. I'll come up with something else.
I really hope that's the case. Now we need to hear from Mr. McCusker to confirm Dylan's excellent headcanon.
Yeah, and so Katrina's like, they're both very thankful about it, and Katrina's like, does this mean you're going to read it? And he's like, absolutely, because it's a gift from you.
Yeah, and you could kind of hear like there was a little bit of hesitation there because, their relationship is kind of the religion side of their relationship is a strenuous point, especially at this time.
I mean, that's a lot of thrust behind their, the weird state of their relationship is, Eugene, like Katrina becoming a Christian and how hard that is for Eugene, and then hard it is for her, for them to be on different pages here. And it's just like, yeah, I like it a lot.
It's so good.
It's really cute. And then she hugs him while like tearing up, and he's like, "Oh, like, why are you crying?" Like, and she's just like, the emotion of it all. It's so good. And
and then
she's like, goes to get in her car and says, "Merry Christmas, Eugene," and he says, "Season Merry Christmas, Katrina."
Yeah.
Like,
he's gonna say like what, seasonal felicitations to you or something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh no, it's such a good, like I said, this is Will Ryan. Hats off to you. You killed it this episode.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, the writing for him is so well done. So Kathy Buchanan does Connie and Mitch stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Who is the writer that does the Eugene and Katrina stuff? That is something that I am interested in knowing. Do they have their own writer, or is it predominantly...
right. Very, very interesting question. If you keep talking, I will try and pull it up.
That is fair. I will conclude the episode with what we got. So we have the end, which is...
Wait, what's the end? I mean, we still have another scene after this, but how does this scene end,
This
Andrew?
scene ends with Katrina driving away after they say goodnight, and Eugene stops and tries to get her attention, but she's already pulling away, and it kind of ends with her pulling out of the parking lot and Eugene just standing there saying, "I love you." And it is a tear jerker, to say the least. It is like it's a genuine time when like you can kind of hear that Will Ryan has been on the cusp, or Eugene has been on the cusp of saying this whole episode. Like there's been some awkward silences where then whenever they talk about their feelings and stuff, you can kind of tell that that's something that Eugene is thinking about, which is crazy that you can do that you can hear how he's thinking through the way that he's talking. But it's delightful, and it's beautiful. It's so well done. And it really it punctuates this episode really well. And then do you have it?
Yeah. So it looks like Paul McCusker is the credited writer on most of those.
Okay, so there you
go. Eugene Katrina episodes. So it makes sense that he is
doing the most this episode. And then what's the final scene, Dylan?
So our final scene, we get the Barkley family all together at last. It's just a really sweet thing. Mm-hmm. We have some banter between, Jimmy saying, "Oh, he looks like me," and Donna being like, "Don't,
Yeah.
No, not at all." And then they're kind of going back and forth, and Donna starts saying something, and Stuart's falling asleep, and Jimmy's like, "See, Donna, you start talking, people want to go to sleep." And George is like, "I don't want the first thing with them to, Stuart to hear is the two of you bickering." And Jimmy's like, "I better get used to it." Like, it's just, oh, I love it.
It's so fun. It's kind of like the shot in the movie where they're in the room, and then it's the shot of the hospital, and then it's the shot of the block, and then it's the shot of the town, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
that's the end.
The actual end is, it's basically George saying, like, "I'm so excited about having you around,
celebrate
Stuart.
Your new life," is what he says.
Yeah.
Which is so pretty and beautiful, and in those moments, as probably something that I would say.
Yeah. It's the right level of melodramatic.
Yeah, very Andrew level of melodramatic.
Fair enough. And we get, just kind of hitting this, like, double A plot thing. We kind of get 3 endings to this episode. We get the ending in Wits End of the
broadcast.
broadcast. Then we get the, like, emotional ending of Eugene and Katrina. And then we
how
get
emotional it was.
Amen. And then we get this final ending with the Barkley family all together, kind of bringing it back to where it began.
Delightful. So good. So good. Do you have anything else you want to say about this episode?
I have one thing I need to point out from the guide, which is that the actress, Carol Bilger, who plays, or possibly Bilger, not sure. Come on the show. Tell us about it. That would be less funny if she was still living. That would be funnier if she was still living.
Dylan, we have to leave this in.
You're right, we do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Carol Bilger estate. So she was not in the booth for this episode.
Yeah.
She recorded all of this separately. She was not available to come in. So they, the way most show, like, animation or, like, voice dominated stuff is done is not, like, live in a room. It's like, you have good voice directors and whatnot who are able to get the line readings they need, and then, like, editors who piece it together after the fact. Odyssey, especially early on, is very much like everyone doing their, like, everyone comes to the studio and they do their scenes live with each other.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, I think goes to the show's benefit.
Oh, for sure.
But is obviously not crucial in that fact that, like, Mary is not in this episode. She was not available. They had her come in and do her lines after the fact. And in the room, Marshall Younger got to do the lines.
So he got to play the pregnant Mary playing the pregnant Mary.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And there was apparently much chuckling, and unfortunately, his performance has been forever lost, according to the guide.
That is probably for the better.
Yeah. But it is funny. Like, I mean, you talked about, like, how good and convincing her, like, pregnant noises are and whatnot. And just, like, her, but also, like, her dynamic with the family and with George. Like, she feels very organically a part of this episode.
Despite not being there when they recorded it.
Right. It makes it just an extra level of, like, an impressive feat.
Yeah. That's so cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Anything you want to say to kind of close us out, Andrew?
I think I'm fresh out of takes. I got the discussion questions here. If you want to do those, we certainly don't have to.
Yeah, I think we're good runtime, especially because this one's not getting edited down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We've said it before. We'll say it again. I love this episode. It was, of all the episodes to recover, I'm glad that it was this one. I was thinking that when I was preparing to do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just fun, and it makes me really want to cover Eugene and Katrina.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we'll do it, folks.
Who knows?
Who knows? Nobody knows what the future holds.
Exactly.
It's bad enough just getting old. Yeah. Anything you want to plug?
The Star Wars New Canon Book Club.
Hey, there we go. Link in the description.
Excellent podcast.
Go listen to Swanak back.
Yeah, they talk about The Mandalorian a lot, and if you like Star Wars, which I do,
Me too.
very, very interesting, very funny, very enjoyable.
Yeah. And with all that being said, we will be back next week to talk about Preacher's Kid.
Bye, guys.
It's episode 300? I didn't do the I usually do the episode number. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 300, Preacher's Kid.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wad Fam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Unto Us a Child is Born was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
I miss you, Nathan.